All right. All right. How is everyone doing? How's everyone doing? All right. Well, let's do something fun today. Let's do something fun. Not sure what yet. Not sure what yet, but all right. So I was looking a little bit. I got back pretty late last night, but I did try a little bit of this. This was not working for me. This was not working for me in any way of the matter. You can see there is a Docker sock here that wasn't working. Like this. Var run Docker sock is not a file. What? One second. Interesting. This is an actual sock file, but that also was not working. Like that. It's also saying it's not a file. We can remove this type of file check, but then it just doesn't work. What I really don't know is all of this because it's running inside of Kind. I dug a little into Kind, how Kind works. Kind's actually running basically systemd inside of a container to then run its own thing inside of it. That is why I did this. Let's see. In my Kind config, I tried to add the Docker sock, but this is adding as a file, which doesn't seem to be. It seems to be mounting it as a directory. If you're using Docker, okay, extra port mappings. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I have to just give it to the directory, like var run. Seems gross. I could actually give it a fun path here just to not stomp on anything that's in there. What could that fun path be? There we go. Just in case, I don't know how this container works. Let's see here. Actually, like instead of doing this, let's make this a little bit easier. Let's just throw this in. We'll just kind of do it in an official way here. Now what we will need to do is to go back to our last file and update this to be, let's see. But it's actually in Eddington. There we go. All right, now we will need to shut everything down, right? So let's stop this. Jump over here, exit out of here, delete cluster. And then we can just hack it up. So we could, yeah. What do you guys want to do? I'm really up for anything. I kind of just want to have fun. A little tired. It was a long trip. So if there's something you guys would like to do, I know that we've talked about adding on a couple of things to our Twitch alerts. Like, so we could do something with that in Rust. We could add something onto that. We could continue trying to do this. Trying to mount Docker and use Docker inside of Kind. So we could keep doing that. Or we could do something completely just off the books, crazy, learn a different language. We could learn. No, let's not do learn a different language. My mind's not in that today. My mind's not in that today. We could do just something completely different. Play around with a TUI. I need to figure out a TUI to use for if we do like a, one thing that I was thinking is we could, if we integrated like chat into, or some of those things into our Twitch alerts, it would be cool to have chat on screen in like a text here, but, I don't know. What do you guys think? Okay. Cool, that's all set up. We can go ahead and start tilt. What would you guys like to do? All right. Let's see what that's doing. Yeah. Kind of guess this. Okay, so Eddington var run Docker sock is not a file. Let's check that out. So let's see. Here we go. So let's see how this mounted everything in there. Just play Starfield. Are you finding Starfield fun? Don't spoil it for me, please. Don't spoil it. I'd lose all my subscribers booting into Windows. Don't tell them that I can actually boot this. It's dual boot, and it's not with another Linux. It's not with Gentoo. I feel like that's the only acceptable thing is you dual boot Arch with Gentoo. All right. So this was kind of my assumption that this was not doing it right. Seems like a good game. Cool. I'm a general Bethesda fan. I kind of wish that, we had a Skyrim 2.0, but, I also understand diversifying some and doing some different things. So, so yeah, this did not mount in like we thought it would. Let's check our script. So we have this kind config, which we did these host paths. Let's check and make sure this is correct. I feel like it has worked for everything. But the other thing we can do is actually check our start dev script to make sure that it's applying it. Let's see. The amount, it's very odd how passionate people dislike things. Yes. Oh, interesting. Let's check this out. From your Apple fanboys to Starfield to whatever it is. It's I think some of it is like also supposed to be good-natured, like good nature for fun trolling, although they don't realize that everyone's doing it, and so then it gets annoying because it's like, oh yes, of course. I forgot we were using this to set up the Docker registry inside of our thing, which means we're not actually using that kind config, we're using this. Let's first change this to Eddington kind ed. Oh no, I was talking about Apple fanboys that will come to your thing, and if you said something bad about Apple, they'll hate on you. That's what I was talking about. I don't go seeking the groups out. Trust me. Trust me. I don't go seeking them out. That's never been my intent. The worst thing is like I think that Apple has done some innovative things, but I almost don't want to talk about those because I also am compelled to bring up my honest opinions, which has bad things in them, but then you unleash the hounds. All right. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a little tired, just a little tired, a little jet lagged. But I kind of wanted to do something fun, but I didn't know what to do, so I was kind of leaving it up to you guys. So if there's a thing you'd like to mess around with, more than just me trying to mount Docker into a kind. Right now, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to mount Docker into a kind cluster. So if that's not fun, let me know. We can do something different. How was Raccoon City? It was, you know, for better or for worse, where our office isn't bad. So, and the weather was amazing. Now, where the airport is, you get one of those armored Ubers. You like if you scroll down in Raccoon City, you can get an armored Uber. You definitely want to spend the extra money on the armored Uber. But where the office is, it's pretty nice. All right, what I wanted to do was go in here, grab these, yank them, go back, and unyank them here. Hey, you wonder if Umbrella you know what? I don't think you want to work from home as an Umbrella corporate. I feel like the only actual safe place to be is to work from the office, but not the office. You don't want to be in the office. You want to be in one of the other offices. That's the safest place to be, I think. It's a working theory. Working theory. Wait, I just did this command. Is it not delete? Stop. I can't believe I just blanked on. It is delete. Oh, it is cluster. It's kind delete cluster. Kind of was thinking, what else do you delete when you delete something with the kind command line? But, you know, obviously. Actually, what is there? What are the other things? Oh, cluster or clusters. Okay. You are right. You are right. That is a severe risk that you run. That's why I said you don't want to be in the office. You want to be in a umbrella office. Also, I feel like if you just laid down on the floor and played dead really well, maybe she wouldn't kill you. I haven't seen them try to do that, but that would be my attempt. Did not find expected key, so it didn't like this. Like, uh, I'm trying to come up with, new new ways to think about if a hostile person comes into your office after your company has started an apocalypse. I think these are things employee handbook should think out. Oh, I forgot the extra mounts. Okay, okay. That's what it's wanting. Maybe that's my new career calling. Employee handbook writing. Raz from YouTube, hello, how are you? I didn't actually realize this, but people from YouTube actually watch these. I always have had this go into YouTube. Because it just was a place to record. I've always thought maybe I would do something with the recording post, or I've thought I would, if I had the time, make some clips or something. And YouTube stores it indefinitely for me, so that was nice. But I've never done anything with it. But there are actually people that watch it from there as well, so it's good to see you. I think there's services that like integrate the chats together. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. Oh. This kind of takes a long time. So I have this bash script. Bad Cop would be proud of me. I have this bash script that basically stands up a cluster for Eddington testing, or that's the hope and goal of it, is that it does like a local cluster all set up for it, which includes Istio, which I'm sure you're proud of me for, Russell. If you have chat on screen, you won't need to cross post. That's actually a really good point. I should have chat on screen. I need to get chat on screen. It would actually be easier too. Oh, I guess I could do it in OBS. I was actually thinking like on screen, like over here, but it could just be in OBS as well. Okay, this is up. Let's see how we're doing over here. No, I don't want you. Let's tilt up over here. Let's see how this goes. All right. Still says this is not a file, but let's actually check the file system. Let's check the file system. So our node is running inside this container. Let's, there we go. We want this. Cool beans. And then this is at, it is mounting it now. And we do have the Docker sock there. Pink is a file. Eddington var run Docker sock. Did we mount it in the right place? Let's go back and check that. I can't believe this is what we're doing for a fun stream. You guys are all lame. Didn't give me any. Wait, where was I? Oh, we were gonna check. Okay, so the file system appears right. Eddington var run Docker sock. Now we can go back to actually the deployment. And check this. So Eddington var run Docker sock, and it's looking for a file, and it's saying that is not a file. I do try to disagree with this. Let's actually look at it. I think Pink is right. I believe it's right, but let's validate. Yeah. Okay, you did say play. I always wonder if that's like a good or bad thing. Like, I already feel like I'm too much of a variety streamer since I do like Kubernetes, Go, and Rust. Like, I don't know. Do would playing a game be dumb? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's okay to be a variety streamer, and if I'm actually a variety streamer, because I feel like I'm not a variety streamer, but I feel like some streamers like literally only do one language and like one thing. And now I'm in the Unix sockets. This does look to be a socket. Which should be a file. You know what we can look at over here? Run as user. Yeah, I have it run as user 0 and privileged. Wait. I haven't done anything in TypeScript for a while. I haven't done anything in TypeScript for a little while, so don't speak about me using TypeScript recently. That's a secret. And it's saying we can always just remove this. That doesn't seem like the right thing to do. If you're wondering, I am leaving the mount. I am mounting in the container in var run containerd because that's how the internal service was configured. I know that's a little cheating, but this should be fine. It's looking at run containerd sock. So, you know, I just mount the Docker sock to run containerd sock. Oh, the Ruby on Rails guy who entered chat. I actually have that. I put it in my news section. I'm not sure if I'll cover it in the news. Probably not. I haven't read it though yet. So I was gonna give that a read. I have an interesting take on that dude. I like half of the things, like half of his takes, I think are actually fairly good takes. Like really, really solid takes. And then, like, I think more than just his takes, I feel like sometimes I just disagree with his conclusion. Like, he sets up all these things and then he takes this, like, really weird conclusion. Now, again, I haven't read the article, so I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, a little bit weird. So if I don't check it for a file, it doesn't work. Let's actually set this all up for, oh wait, this is screwy. What I need here, this is varlib docker, I believe. We can check this. Then we can delete this. Still unable to create pack client. Okay, so we can put that. Well, let's validate that it's at varlib docker. I think it is. Yeah. Honestly, I would love it if the Ruby on Rails guy. I'm blanking on his name. I'll remember it in just a second. Came in and chatted. That would be awesome. I have a lot of questions. A lot of questions that need answering. So, and one thing that I think he does well, and maybe is like the whole context behind some of these things, and maybe something I don't do well, is when you write an article like that, the whole point is to be not absurd, but to also not clickbait, but have a valid clickbait title. And so to do that, you kind of have to just accept wholeheartedly a single position and not talk about the pros and cons. I think actually I've been told that like I should stop talking about like explaining the pros and cons and everything. But I think like that's what's missing in a lot of these things is it's like, oh, you know what? I think not using TypeScript and using JavaDoc might be better for some things like a library. I don't know. I'm not saying that. But like you know, maybe there are specific things where that is true. But making a blog post titled "The Few Times or the Interesting Times When TypeScript is Terrible" isn't going to get nearly as many views. And if you're trying to get people to read it, and then you just have to hope that they read it with a critical mind and understand what you're meaning. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing here either because none of this seems to work. It seems like we mounted the Docker socket and stuff into our container like we intended. And now we're trying to mount that into our container. We could actually exec into our container. Now this gets a little bit difficult because this container is in kind. So we can use kubectl exec, except, oh shoot, I don't think I have a terminal on this container because I make proper containers. But it doesn't like this. It doesn't like if you tell it to be a file. We can update this to be, you know, var run. Yeah, this would just be var run docker sock. Oh, you know what? Maybe we want to do this. Var run docker, like just var run. and then it will mount the file. Maybe it was mounting it in a directory in there. Okay, so let's do that for one. Let's do this. Let's delete this as a file constraint. And then let's update this to be var lib docker. And then let's save that. Now we need to go and update the yeah, Russell, I think you're right. I think that's a good way of approaching it. You can still why we took TypeScript out back and shot it, but just make sure that you go in and explain, which makes it a little more wordy and whatnot. But I think it's important because honestly, it's a stance that I've taken is that it's too easy. I think it does our industry a lot of harm where you get these people that think this is the solution. And you know, it's partially on them. Like, I think partially, you know, you need to read those things with a critical mind. And that's what I try to encourage. But like, it's partially like you can do better at making it clear as well. If your goal is to help people by writing those blog posts, then there's no harm in making it clear what scenarios made it right for you. Yeah. All right, so we have a config, yeah, right here. Var run docker sock. Let's try that. Not liking that. It did not like mounting here. Let's try that. Wait. Failed to create OCI shim. Error mounting to rootfs at var run mount blah blah. Not a directory, unknown. Wait, what is not a directory? Docker sock? That's right, it's not a directory, it's a file. But every time I put a file here, it gets upset at me. It's not a I knew it's not a file. All right, see you, Russell. Thanks for checking in. I'm really up for doing something different. This is just what I have been eating a hole in my mind. I haven't been able to touch it, so I'm yeah. Okay. What am I doing wrong here? If I take this out, it fails with not a directory. Oh, okay, okay. What if we, instead of mounting it to run, mounted it to, I think this is run Docker. And then what we need to do is this is not at all what I was planning on going to. What did I just do? What we need to do is come in here and go to the config YAML for the container builder. Here we go. And then put this in var run docker .sock. I think that's what it's complaining. All right, so that kind of worked, but it also didn't work. Okay, so it got rid of mount issues, right? We don't have any mount issues. Okay, but it didn't get the new config. It's still looking for var run docker sock. So let's kill tilt. Maybe just do this. Yeah, there we go. It got it. So it doesn't pick up changes to its config file for reasons. I think I can fix that, but it doesn't. All right. Unable to parse Docker host. Now let's try going here and doing this. Type file. Is not a file. We're at a couple layers of inception here. Let's Google this. Mount Docker sock in pod. Let's move this to its own screen. Reddit's going to solve it for us. Thank you. Thank you, Redster. Please join my channel and have a chat with me. And I will tell you why saying this on Reddit and just saying adding a Docker dependency now that Docker support has been completely removed from Kubernetes is just stupid. And I'll give you some reasons why it's not, so I can enlighten you. I have the same problem 1 year ago. My needs to launch 3 containers of a specific endpoint is called. What is my mount? Yes, it does need privileged access. 100%. That's not a dinned rootless. What is he doing here? It's starting from Docker dinned. But I think my problem stems from this. I'm looking more for validation of var run Docker sock. Volume of Docker sock. Let's see. Okay, so they are not doing the type file. So that's fine. But uh-oh. Did we break it? Unable to create pack client. Var run Docker sock. Can I don't think this is going to work, but let's try it. Get pods. Let's try it. We'll see if this works. Sweet. All right. So if we're in here, then we can ls var lib docker. Uh-oh, I see a problem. Oh, wait. Var lib, var run. Okay. This is literally mounting the socket as this. I thought this was not working like this, so let's try that. We got kicked out of the container. That makes sense. It makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense anymore because it's just in var run Docker sock. So now we got to go here. Where's here? And we'll just delete that. Now we'll have to restart it though. It won't pick that up automatically. Var run Docker sock. Okay. Good morning. How are you doing? Just got back from a long trip, so we're just kind of doing whatever. right now we're trying to perform inception with Docker containers. So we're trying to mount a Docker socket inside of a container that's running inside of a container. So so far it's not been successful, but but I have high hopes. Yeah, I have high hopes. Yeah. Not a smart thing per se to do, but yeah, we're trying. We're trying. But also I'm kind of very jet lagged, so if I'm kind of up for whatever. All right. So what we're doing is we're running a Kubernetes cluster in Kind, which is here. And then so Kind actually runs each node as a container. So we can run Docker PS here. And so you can see here, and this is our node here. So we could actually exec into this. Docker exec, exec. Oops. So now the interesting thing is that this, I didn't realize this, but Kind actually runs a container that has a lightweight systemd and containerd running inside of it. I forget how to list the containers running in containerd. There's not nerdctl on here, so we don't have a nice CLI. But there's containers running inside of here, needless to say. And these are the ones that, well, actually, I can just look it up really quickly. 1 second. List pods containerd. Here we go. nerdctl is a really nice wrapper. It gives the Docker command line basically to containerd. So you can see this is actually all of the containers running in the thing, and you don't actually see these outside of this container. So on my host system, you don't actually see these. CTR, NS, LS, that's namespaces. So the one namespace is Kate's. It's CTR-in Kates.io containers list. Okay, you are on. Yeah, sure. Oh, thanks for the follow. Did you shoot, I didn't actually check. Did you get a message on screen? You should have gotten an AI generated message. And if you didn't, that means it's broken and we should go investigate. I have been gone on a business trip for the last week, so I wasn't looking. The message was solid. Awesome, good. We wrote our own system. I don't have a sound for it yet. We need to have a sound, so that's one thing that we'll add here in the coming weeks, so that it plays a notification sound. So we just have an AI that generates personalized message. Everybody gets their own personal message. All right. So what we're trying to do is actually mount that our host Docker's socket inside of let's see, which container are we trying to do it in? This one, the container builder. So we're trying to, well, let me draw this out because I think even I am getting a little. So our host is here. This is our host. And it has a, var run docker.sock. And then we have kind here that is running, it actually runs var, no, it's run container D, container inner d.sock. And then we have our container here. This would be container builder is here. And we're trying to mount this one to this one. This var run Docker sock into this container here. That's the goal. Right, so this is kind is running the Kubernetes cluster, but it's in this Docker. So it's running on this Docker, but it runs its own container D that runs this container. And we're trying to mount this Docker sock into this container running in this Kubernetes cluster. The containerception. That's what we're doing. It's containerception. And okay, so the real world, while we're trying to do this, is we're trying to build a local testing environment. So I have this system called Eddington. And one of the things Eddington does for you is it builds a container if you want a container. And it builds a container without you needing to know what a container is. So I use packs for that. But the container packs require Docker, not containerd. They actually require Docker. Now, in the real cluster, like if you were running this in production, you would just make sure that you actually were running Docker. Obviously, we don't need the Docker shim anymore, and Docker runs on containerd in the backend, but you can actually expose the Docker sock directly here, basically. There wouldn't be this middle layer here. But because we're in kind, we have this weird middle layer. And I don't know if kind is giving us the weirdness or if what I'm doing, I'm just dumb. Maybe both. All right. So let's look at this. How does kind handle volume mounting? So let's look at how I set up kind. I set up kind like this. So basically, I pass it these extra amounts here in this config. So I have to actually config kind, and I mount var run, and I mount var lib docker into Eddington var lib docker. I did this just so it doesn't, because kind is running its own containerd, I didn't want to screw with any of its stuff. My system's called Eddington. So I just put it in its own root file. I did check on that. So here we're actually in the kind container here. So we can actually ls Eddington var run, var run. And we can see that we have our Docker sock here inside of the control plane. It's a single node cluster, so the control plane also runs the things. As you can see, the container builder is building on this. So this is the container. I'm using tilt to update it. So it seems to be getting mounted into kind properly. Then let's jump over. This is good rubber ducking, so I appreciate it. I know that I'm like repeating what we've done, but that is perfect. So then we have in our deployment that Tilt is using. Let's see, container builder in our deployment here. We have this where we do the host path, which should be coming out of that kind container that it's running in. We mount the Eddington var run docker sock. The Eddington var run docker sock. That seems to be all correct. So this is our volume. I'll share with you an interesting thing with that volume. And then we mount it here. Like this. Now what we can do, we can exit out of here and we can use kind, or we can actually use kubectl to exec into it. I could have just copy and pasted at the end, but I decided to do the whole thing. And we can look at var run docker sock ls var run, and docker sock appears to be in the container correctly. Yeah, ls. Actually, I haven't checked that in. Oh, wait, 1 second. Var run. And if you do this, 1 second. Wait a second. Is this what I would? This is not what I expected. Yeah, which is interesting. That's not. I mean, it's inside the container, but why would I don't know why that would happen. Ls run. So this looks right. Right? Okay, so this is a little interesting. Looks like it mounted something to run, then symlinked your var run to run. So should I try mounting somewhere just completely off the books? Like, to me, I can configure it to mount anywhere. So should I not go var run? Let's mount it somewhere else. Wait. I'm not sure I'm understanding what you're saying. It looked like it mounted something to run, then symlinked your var run to run. Yes, I agree. Oh, okay. It's preserving the June 24 and should on host system and every system through the. Oh, okay. I got it. I'm sorry. Right. Host file Eddington container depth is 2. Yes. Okay. But what is the solution here? So if it's the same, it should be the actual mount, and if not, it's a weird copy or anything along those lines. Okay, so let's go check the host system. I think is what you're saying and makes sense here. So June 24th, blah blah blah. No, it's September 8th. This is September 8th. The Docker sock is September 8th. This is the thing that we would care about. Right, not Not the lock. Well, I guess the lock. Yeah. I think September 8th. 2304. I can actually just open up another terminal over here. Is this a symlink? Is this the problem? Is that var run is a symlink on my local system? So I'm mounting a symlink. Has this been my? I think I've done this without the L, and so this looked like the right path, but it's not the right path. The right path is var. It is just run. I think that's the whole problem. But we can look here, root docker. Let's see, September 8th, 1904. Oh, can't see it. My cam's in the way. Well, you know what? Let's get. Oh, you can't hear me? I'll fix that. So basically, let me think about this. So going in here, I never did the -L, which is a loss for me. It's a real -L. So here, not here, but in kind. In kind, we're doing a symlink. So let's fix kind first. Well, we can fix here. Actually, do we need to fix here? I don't think we need to fix here. We could, but let's do the kind first. So that's in hack. Here, we're mounting a symlink, which is probably our problem. Instead of just var run, we're just going to mount run. And we're going to mount run into the same place that we were mounting var run. So instead of mounting the symlink. So I am mounting the host socket into the container eventually. The same one that's running the kind cluster that's running containerd. So this is the one I'm trying to pass all the way through all the layers of Inception. I want to say conception, but like container inception, but I think conception, yeah, let's not do that one. So yeah, I think you're right. We'll just do containerception. Containception. Yeah, we'll go with that. Get banned for conception on stream. Yeah. Seption-tainer. That sounds like a disease. Seption-tainer. I think I can just do this because this is going to let me try this. But now we have to actually let's shut down tilt, and now let's exit out of here. Nope. Over here, exit. And let's delete kind delete cluster, kind delete cluster, kind. I don't have a cluster name kind, but it seems to have deleted the cluster. Okay, it's kind Eddington. What a name. What a name. What a name. Kind delete cluster. Maybe it went ahead and just deleted it since it was the only cluster. I thought it would require a name. Yeah, well, it's been a little while since I've tried to do something like this. Actually, I don't think I've ever tried to do something like this on Kubernetes. So, and I don't think kind is helping, just how it's another layer. So let's run this again. Start dev. This takes a little while. So this script is designed to like set up a testing environment for all of this. So it does a couple of things. Yeah, it's just we're effectively troubleshooting two container runtimes because basically the kind is running a container runtime inside of a cluster and systemd itself. But yeah. So anyhow, thanks for joining. I don't think it would have been a little while for me to think about the Symlink. So that helped a whole lot. Thank you. I don't come from like a sysadmin position. I come from a developer, and I actually come from being a Windows developer for the longest of time, working on GPU stuff. So yeah. CUDA, I'm okay at. Oh, you dev'd on OpenStack? Okay, so what I am making is OpenStack AWS Lite. That's the idea. This is like a I can sit and explain it to you if you like, while trying to also think about this. Okay, so we are up and running. Docker PS. This is our kind control plane. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. This is the control plane node. So we can check inside of this, like you were saying. So the idea here is that I wanted to make a no infrastructure cloud. So you know how like AWS makes it easy and you can use something like infrastructure as code. But I wanted to try my hand at making something that would say, hey, instead of infrastructure as code, what if you wrote your app and the infrastructure was all created for you? So if your app had a Postgres URL to a Postgres database, we would just automatically stand up a Postgres database for you, make all the connection strings and design everything and configure that your app's config file to point to the right thing with the right credentials. Because like what ends up happening is like, oh, okay, it's easy to run your application in AWS, but then it's really difficult to run it properly and to use all the things as a service. Even though they're as a service, you can create an RDS database simply and easily. Using it becomes a pain in the butt. Well, yes, like Heroku build packs plus more. So I also want like a completely for free messaging system. So if you define your protobuffers, that's what a lot of this stuff is actually describing here. So basically, if you have like a Go service with protobuffers, you'll have an event hub, and you can send stuff on that event hub. For every protobuffer message, you'll have an event queue for it. So you just kind of get it for free. Like, it just happens. Same thing with logs and, whatnot. Amazing once it works. That's the idea. So actually, we're trying to use build packs to build the containers, because at first I was like, oh, people can just give me their Docker file or a container, point me to a container. But then I was like, next level would be we actually build the containers. So I'm actually using build packs. That's what this is doing. And build packs requires Docker. It doesn't work with Containerd. It requires a Docker sock. That's why I have to get the stupid Docker sock all the way there. Yeah. So yeah. All right, so let's go in here. You said Eddington var run. And then we can do over here on the host system, we can... All right. So that's the goal of this project, is basically Heroku++. I want the cloud where you work on building an application, you deploy it, and that's it. Actually, you don't even deploy it. You just tell me where your Git repo is. And if you want it to be a microservice, like if you have two services that you want to have call, you just deploy both services, and they can talk seamlessly together. That's the idea. Yeah, I guess right now I just have to get this working. Correct. Okay, so we have our Docker sock here. Let's go ahead from inside the kind control, touch a file here. So we have access. This is mounted correctly in here. Cool. All right. Make sure I can read. Okay. Let me do full check. Check. All right. I mean, there are no contents, but we will. Seems I can read the contents. All right. Now let's bring up tilt, which should bring up our thing, which everything is mounted in the same place inside of that. So I don't think we should have to touch anything else. Half the time I screw up something like this is because the Containerd isn't running as root, but the file is because of the mount. Unable parse Docker host var run Docker sock. So maybe I screwed something else up. All right. So we know that we are in... We're in Eddington var run, and there is the Docker sock here. Let's do ls-al here. The Docker sock here is running as root. its group is the Docker group on the root, the main one, but we're running this container as privileged, so I don't think this should affect that. Maybe try A. Oh, okay. I don't think I have the Docker command line from in here. I don't think this will work because command Docker is not found inside this container. Yeah. I didn't think that would work. And we could mount the Docker CLI into this container as well. So if we need to, we'll do that. We'll just mount basically our entire root file system into this container. But let's try some stuff before we do the nuclear option. All right. We're in Eddington var run. Okay. Don't you have to change Docker into that mode? I don't think this will work right off the bat, but maybe. Might as well try. This is just Eddington, right? Yeah, var run, yeah. Hey, that worked. So that's pretty good news. That was a good call. That was a good call. Okay. So this is in kind. Now we have to mount this into our container. So let's check that. Deployment. All right. Yeah. So we have Eddington. The host path is Eddington. You know what we should do here is we should do type file. That's why our type file wasn't working here for the longest of time. All right. So type of file, Eddington Docker var run Docker sock, which is what we confirmed here. Eddington var run Docker sock. Yep. I don't even know that we need to mount the Docker config. I do, but I don't think we need to. And then we do, and this is the mount here. We mount it to var run Docker sock. Yeah, the sock is the way into the process. All right, so let's restart this and see if that changes anything. Var run Docker sock is not a Eddington var run Docker sock is not a file. So let's exec into this. So it's not here. We have to do kubectl get pods, and we have to exec into. Oh, it's stuck in container creating because of this issue. So to get around this issue, we'll just not tell it's a file because it doesn't think it's a file. And now it will be able to come up. So then we can exec into it. So this is the one running. We're all just in the default namespace. All right. So now let's This worries me though. So var run docker sock, unable to create pack client. Let's check out what's in the var run docker sock. You know what? Is bash on here? That's so much more convenient. All right, it is on here. So how do we want to test from in here? Wonder if using the type directory would pass it properly. So do you just want me to do the whole run directory? I think if I do that, I was just doing the socket. If I do that, I'm going to change it not to be in var run because I would stomp on the containers var run, and I'm not sure if that has any unintended consequences. So I think what I'll just do is do like a Eddington in here again. Just to ensure and then instead of this, we're just going to mount the path. Right. Actually, I can just delete this. We're going to pass all of our run in. I think directory is the default if you don't give it one. Okay. What I do need to do at this point is change where the application is looking to bind it. So we need to go into this and just pass it Eddington. There we go. And now let's rerun this. Uh-oh. Unsupported value directory. Oh. Aren't we past this where computers need everything spelled properly? I feel like... ChatGPT should just be running locally and be like, no, this is what he meant. He meant directory. Come on. Next feature. And here. Okay, so now we need to get back into the container and understand this a little bit better because it's still saying unable to create pack client. We did mount the entire directory though. Eddington var. Interesting. I don't know if this matters. I need to do that though, I think. I think that matters, and I think I want to restart this then. Okay, at least it has the / on there. At the start. Unable to create pack client. Okay. So, you about to leave, babe? Okay. My wife is going to a birthday party. Did it say? It said, what did it say? Unable to parse Docker host. Eddington var run Docker sock. Ooh, you're about to get married? Congrats, dude. How long have you, next weekend, and you're on Twitch. Either being on Twitch is like, you got, you're fearless, or this is how you're trying to not think about it. Although, if you've been... Oh, okay. You're not until Friday. Well, congratulations. I'm a little hurt that I'm not invited. Personally, I feel like we've made a connection. I have no idea what part of the world you're in. I'm on the East Coast of the United States. All right, let's get into this container. Oh, you'll stream it on Twitch? Absolutely, I'll watch it. All right, let's see. So I grew up near Pennsylvania. Do you know a place in Wooster, Ohio? I don't know if you know Wooster, Ohio. Lived a little southeast of Wooster, Ohio. Is it pretty close to? I wouldn't expect you to have been there for any reason whatsoever. The middle of nowhere, Ohio. You thought that Columbus was boring. Wait till you go to Amish country, Ohio. Oh, okay. You're in the okay. Okay, so you're a little more east. So this is in. I'm just going to do the same curl test. I don't know if curl's here, but it's in Eddington var run docker sock. Curl's not in this container. Now, we control this container, so we can install curl really quickly. Let's get out of it. We'll update the Docker file for it. I doubt wget. I make pretty small containers on purpose, so I'm kind of terrified that bash was in it, to be honest. It shouldn't have been. Oh man, I'm going straight from Ubuntu 2024. They make pretty small containers. You can go with the minimal, but that's why bash is in this one. Let's do. You've seen troubleshooting network containers? Yeah. Man, troubleshooting networking in Kubernetes is one of my least favorite things, especially if it's DNS. Least favorite. Let's see. Dude, if Swarm wasn't dead, I actually think the architecture of Swarm was better than Kubernetes. But Swarm came out way too late with way too little community. All right, that's going to automatically rebuild that for us. It's just stuff like this, where like, this isn't in, yeah. Because I changed it, it's automatically rebuilding and deploying it for me, which is pretty nice. There's a lot of like community tools around it. Tilt I actually really like. Tilt's actually by Docker. Well, they bought it. Also, building a container like this sometimes consumes enough bandwidth to destroy the stream. So basically, all tilt is this tilt file. And you basically just describe what you want to be run in your Kubernetes cluster. But the really cool thing is it's going to also watch that. So if you look at here with this Docker build, it's now going to watch Container Builder. And anytime a change happens in the Container Builder directory, it's going to rebuild that image. So it's like a hot reload for your Kubernetes cluster. But I have a couple services here. I have the API server in dash API. And so anytime I make a change to that, it rebuilds this container and redeploys it. So it's fairly nice. I like it. It does destroy my stream sometimes, though. All right, we're back to the same thing, but we should have curl on it now. We should have curl on it. So we want to do. Okay. We need that curl command. I don't remember it off the top of my head. It's in chat. It's in chat. I got it. I got it. It's this curl command. That's not the curl command. I thought I copied it. Come on, copy. Come on, paste. Okay. What happened there? What happened there? There we go. Now all we have to do is change this to Eddington. That is not what we expected. That is not what we expected. That didn't fail how I expected either. You want ls inside of that? Let's do you know what? One thing I want to change really quickly. I want to put a slash on the front end. I try. Yeah, okay, still. I didn't expect that to change anything because we're in the root directory here, right? I think so. I think so. Let's wait a second. Did I just like destroy this container? What was wrong with the container? I don't know. I did so let's try this again. Okay, so that does work. That does work. I don't know. I screwed the container up somehow. So then why is Pack unable to create a client? So now this could be a permission issue in how we deploy. So let's play around with that a little bit. Container builder, deployment. So I'm running this as privileged as user 0. We can remove this. I don't know. I think that's the right thing to do there, but I'm not entirely sure. Didn't really have an effect. I'm kind of grasping at straws here. Wait. Unable to parse Docker host. Is the group ID? Yes, the group ID is the same, but it's not an ID that exists. I think it's a line break. It's just wrapping. We can check the config. I mean, there's no line break in here. No new line. Technically, there should be, but I don't think that's causing the issue. Good call. Good call. We're debugging here. I could make this a little bit smaller, which would be harder for you guys to read, but that also fixes it. So all three can see the Docker socket. Yep. And we validated that it's actually the Docker socket by running this. Like, it's actually responding with stuff. So, and this is the container. Eddington var run docker sock. That's what the container is trying to read, right? Eddington var run docker sock. Yeah. So what's... Yeah, we should be able to run containerd here. So we have... This is our file, so let's install the Docker CLI. I'm just going to say Docker. Oh, it's always something stupid. Like with me, I will come up with these really awesome, complicated things, and it'll be like a really stupid thing, like I misspelled directory or something like that, where it's like, okay, great. I feel like a fool. I wasted hours on that. I wanted a really nice, simple development environment. That's what I'm trying to do. So far, that's been harder to do than actually than I thought. All right, we're back up. Still the same thing. Can't create the... Yes, nothing simple for me. All right. Let's exec back into that. Maybe check the logs in var log, like sysinfo. Oh, okay. I will do that. So this should be like Docker ps sock equals Eddington var run Docker sock. What? Docker not found. I thought we installed it, chat. Thought that's what we did. Modprog, look at this. In the realm of Modprog, 11 champions arose. Thank you for the 11-party raid. There is your custom AI-generated message. Thank you so much for the raid. How are you doing? How are you doing? What were you guys up to? Did some proc macro development? Cool. Somewhat exhausted. That makes sense. That makes sense. I love Rust macros, but they're work to make. Those are the only macros that I really know how to write well. So that's why I'm talking about those. Well, thank you for the raid. What were you all working on? Oh, like what was the proc macros doing is what I meant. Obviously, I know you were doing proc macros. We are not doing anything nearly as fun. Let me assure you of that. We are not doing anything nearly as fun. Oh, really? Oh, really? Okay, so you know Rust better than I do. Oh. Cool. Well, I will have to add you. We do both Rust and Go. Now today is neither of those. We're just kind of having some fun. Today is neither of those, but today is it was supposed to be fun and now it's turned into pain. It's turned into pain. I'm not going to lie to you all. But I will have to I'll have to check out your stream some. Drive More. I've never used Drive More. What is Drive More? I've used Drive. I know that one well enough. What is Drive? This is what try to remove these annoyances. So basically, Drive More is just a thing to do like the common ones, like the common display, debug, whatnot. Okay. That's cool. Well, thanks for the follow. And there's your, just so you know, it's AI generated, but it's kind of personal for you. We make a new message for each person. It's kind of fun. And it's kind of Dungeons and Dragons style message. But yeah, thanks for the follow. Cool. This is cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check out your stream. I apologize. I've never watched your stream, Modprog, but definitely gonna have to do it now. Just hit you up with a follow. So I'm sure I'll be able to learn quite a bit more. So the system that you guys just saw that does the AI generation of follows and events, as Mogprog is going to demonstrate, is written in Rust, so you know that it's a far superior system to just about everything, and it is blazing fast. It's the most blazing fast Twitch event system out there. That's all here. So we did this all on stream. I'm not sure if I actually want to show you the code to any of this because like you're obviously a far better Rust developer than me. I'm showing you this just to prove that I do write Rust occasionally. But my goodness, let's get out of this now so that you don't see quite the depths of my depravity. Sometimes instead of managing memory, sometimes instead of dealing with the borrow checker, I just copy it, and I know that's bad. I know it's bad. Sometimes I do the borrow checking. I know how to do it. Sometimes it's just easier to call. Sometimes it's just easier to copy it. You don't have any alerts. Well, I actually, Modprog, I would actually argue that it's easier to learn Rust if you just copy everything. Forget about references to self. Forget about references to self and just copy everything until you get the syntax down. And then you can be like, okay, what about a reference to self? How do I pass these references and these lifetimes? I actually think it's actually easier to learn lifetimes in pre-2018. Because in 2018, they made it where you didn't have to have explicit lifetimes on a bunch of stuff. And I think that's really great for just like developer fatigue because it's a pain. But when learning, being super explicit with every single lifetime is actually a valuable thing because you start to understand it. It pounds it into your mind as like, this is what the lifetimes. And so when the compiler handles it for you, which I think is great and should happen, it's not that, because now with new people, when they start to learn Rust, sometimes references work just automatically, and sometimes a borrow checker complains at them in their face. And it's not clear, at least in my opinion. That's my opinion. Oh, nice. Well, thank you for the follow. Oh, really? Ecton Dev, you just wrote? Thank you guys for all the follows. I super appreciate it. Thank you, Ecton Dev and Nero McMuffin. I like the name, Nero McMuffin. In a realm with darkness, Nero McMuffin, a lone rogue. With a name like that, a fearsome rogue, I'm sure. I we still have work to do with it because like there's no sound that plays with it. So if I'm not looking, I don't actually know that there's the notification. I don't actually know. Wait. Ecton Dev, you wrote a database? Did you really? Ecton Dev, you wrote a database? I'm interested because I have a series. Bonsai DB is your thing? That's super cool. Bofo, don't worry. I feel inferior too. I feel inferior too. Yeah, I do know Togglebit. All right. Well, I've added Modprog and Ecton now to my raid list. So I will raid you guys anytime that I am ending streaming, and I'll spread the rest. So Ecton, I've actually been doing a let me cone of silence you all just for a second. I have a series that next Saturday. So if you guys are here next Saturday, if you join, I do YouTube stuff. I do YouTube stuff, and one of the things that I do. So one of the things that I do is this. I have a thing on databases, and basically we're just exploring how real databases work. And so this next one, we're going to start talking about how indexes are made. It's very simple, meant to be simplistic, and we're just adding on to it. Now, the database itself is written in Rust, but yeah. So, oh, B tree. Well, so we're not going to start with a B tree. So this is supposed to be like an evolutionary thing, where you guys get to see, we're going to start simple. We're going to talk about downfalls of that. Like I said, like right now it's mostly just a log-based database, but the idea is to explore other types of databases and like what's the downfall of a log-based database and understand that. So it's just a one episode at a time. Next Saturday we're going to start programming the next episode, and that's in Rust. So. Well, it's good to have you, Ecton Dev. Oh, no. I now want you to watch those videos and critique them, how I could help teach them better. You probably have more experience. Yeah. Well, thanks. So today, we're not doing anything nearly as fun as Rust or Go, but we could. We could if you guys would like. We're doing... it was first coined Conception, but that got me banned on Twitch. So it's Container Inception, which was meant to be fun, but has turned out to be painful. It's turned out to be painful. So what we're doing here is this Container Inception. We are running a container inside of Kind, which is running its own systemd and containerd sock. And we're running Docker, and that's running inside of Docker on our local host. And we're trying to mount this Docker sock inside of this container to do a little container inception. That's like the PG-13. PG. It's like the G way of saying it. So it turned out to be a little more painful than writing Rust. I think I would rather deal with the borrow checker. Because right now it hasn't worked at all. I don't even remember where we were on this. We've validated that the Docker sock is mounted into the container. This is a complete disaster. If Togglebit jumps on, he's gonna start yelling about Kubernetes. And this is like worse. This is like Docker inside of Kubernetes. Yeah. Too stupid to deal with these untyped. So don't worry about this untyped mess. That's not the problem. That is not the problem. The problem is that it's just not working. The problem is that it's just not working. Oh, we were going to check the system messages, weren't we? That was what we were going to do. I'm going to get rid of this Rust code. I gotta go through and clean it up before what is it? Modprog, ectondev, or Togglebit sees that code. I have to like go through and clean it up. It was written in a feverish fury because I needed to get Twitch alerts working, and that's not good. We didn't check var log yet. That's what we needed to do. Inside the container. Inside the container. All right. I don't know what I'm looking for here. Oh, I just put that under my face. Let me... There we go. There's no syslog, right? It's a container. Because it doesn't run... Oh, but dude, it would be on our main system, on our root system, right? Because if something like a connection failed or something, this has all been mounted, all the Docker stuff has been mounted on the in here, right? So var log. Bopu, you two, we're gonna pretend that doesn't exist. Cannot be worse than what I wrote 2 years ago. Do not doubt my ability to write bad Rust code. So I started streaming because as my job progressed, I've written less code, and so it's been like 2 years. And before that, I was like I wrote Kubernetes and Go. I wrote services in Go, and I actually developed on Kubernetes some as well. And then before that, I wrote in Windows GPU code, so like CUDA, think CUDA, and some other stuff like that. So my general programming is a little rusty, and even if it wasn't rusty, I'm very niche. So my code's a little rough, but I'm learning. I'm getting better. Some flashbacks to CUDA. I actually like CUDA. I actually like CUDA. You're a Java developer by day? I have a button to talk about you know, all of those. You know, I tried to keep it a PG stream. I try to keep it a PG stream. How do you like Java? You know, I played around with Java with a little Android development a long time ago. Like, I am talking 10 years ago was the last time that I touched Java for any real. And this is how I taught myself to program. So I'm a chemist by trade, or by schooling, I guess, and found out that actually sucks as a job. And so I was like, I'm going to teach myself to program. And I made myself an Android app. And that's how I got my first job. But I haven't touched it since then. You don't really mind Java? Like I said, I have very little opinion. I have touched it so little. I like to poke fun at it. All right, I have a question for you all while we're working at this. What are your all thoughts on WebAssembly for the back end? I'm not talking about the front end. I love WebAssembly for the front end. I find that there's a huge push for WebAssembly on the back end, and I don't understand why. To me, WebAssembly on the back end is giving a Java runtime to your natively compiled code, which just blows my mind. Why would you want a Java runtime for your natively compiled code? I don't understand it. I don't understand. Like, period. I don't get it. Like, am I missing something? Cross-platform, but okay, but I'm talking about back-end code. You don't want to run your back-end code on Mac, so cross-platform doesn't seem to be a valid thing, right? Like, which one of us writes a microservice or a service to run on Mac? I don't think any of us. JRuby allows me to natively put Java code into Ruby. Okay, I've never really thought about doing that. I guess that has never been a thought that has occurred to me. That's cool. Okay, if you want to execute arbitrary code safely, it's a lighter way to execute code safely than shipping an isolated process container. Okay. So I will acquiesce to that demand. So for us, for the Aerospike database, we have basically you can run functions and we allow you to do it in Lua. And I think that it would be really cool to switch that over to WebAssembly. So the user defined actions, the UDF is what they're called in the Aerospike database. I think that would be a really cool use of Wasm, is to say, well, anything that compiles to Wasm, your user defined action can run in. I agree to that. 100%. Basically allowing you to turn anything into Lua, effectively. Now, I mean, we made the UDF stuff before Lua was a thing, or before Wasm was a thing, but I mean, it would be nice if we hadn't chosen the JS runtime, maybe. Especially with memory management. I guess I don't understand the memory management side that you guys are talking about. What memory management does Wasm bring that just Linux doesn't? Again, I guess for me, I've never thought, oh, I wish that instead of running on a Linux server, I could run it on a Mac. Maybe that's my bad. Maybe I should be thinking that. Oh, okay. I mean, garbage collectors kind of suck. Let's be honest. They're amazing until they're not. They're amazing until they're not, I think is what I'm going to say. Generally, that's when garbage collectors fall apart, is when you start thrashing them. That's like the classic garbage collector falls apart because you're going through a bunch of small objects, which is then when you decide, well, I'm never going to deallocate and I'm going to make all my small objects reallocatable and I'm going to keep them in an array. And then you end up manually managing memory to avoid the garbage collector. And then it's like, why did I have a garbage collector? That's like the classic network type of. I think Go has one of the best garbage collectors, and you can still run into that if you're not careful. It's why like zero log is such a good thing. Yeah, don't allocate to log if you can help it in Go. Most of your Ruby workers are converted to Go. That's a good choice. You can leak in your. I actually dislike that people say that you don't manage memory in Rust because what do they think managing the borrow checker is? It's just managing memory in a different way. It has you manage memory in a different way. Like it's just a different way of doing it, which I prefer. I think it's a really great way of doing it, but it's still. Ew, you have Redis in there? I have for a while removed Redis from any type of system and been the happier for it. There's nothing Redis can do that you can't replace it with a real database and something like Kafka or Nats.io. There's nothing. You can't tell me that Redis provides something, and Redis is only heartache for me so far. Now, I haven't touched Redis for like 2 years, so maybe it's gotten better. But 2 years ago, Redis maybe it's been 3 or 4 years ago. Might be 3 years or 4 years since I've touched Redis now. Uh, 800K requests a second. One, that's a lot of requests. That is a lot of requests. It also depends on what type of request you're talking about. Payloads or things like that. I guess. A lot goes into that. Yeah, like what's the payload of your request though? That's pretty good. If you're actually doing 800,000 requests a second, if you're actually doing that, and you're doing it with a distributed Redis where you have more than one main one so that that it's highly available, that's fantastic. All right, what am I trying to... I don't even know what to do here. I think maybe we just start writing something in Rust since there's some Rust people on, because I'm not even sure what to do at this point. We've checked the things. I don't know what logs to check where at this point. I have to think about it because we're in this inception. So the like, is it in the container? Is it in the other container running in the other container runtime? Or is it in the host system? I'm not sure. This is the only thing that we get is error creating Docker client unable to parse Docker host, but it seems to be there. It seems to be here. And we can query it from here. So the only thing that I can think of is that it doesn't like... oh, wait, no, that's not what... the only thing I can think of is doesn't like this group. This is the Docker group on the local host. But it shouldn't care because it's running as root. It's running as root. Right? So if we look at what was our last? Oh, yeah. It should be running as privileged. We can do the run as user 0, which I don't think matters. Yeah. No, it's the service started up. The problem is the component of it is failing. I mean, we can even test it round trip, which it's not going to work. That's going to fail. Right, because it's trying to run on Docker. But I don't know what else to do here. We set the security context as privileged, run as user 0. I don't know what log to check here. It doesn't appear to be logging anything from here. Not anything interesting, at least. I don't think I'm going to get anything dumpster diving through those. I mean, possibly, but that seems... Docker host? You mean this right here? That's how the container gets to know where to look. See this? This Docker host is getting set to the Eddington var run Docker sock, right? And that's because of this right here, this Docker host. And that is getting set in here. Right, that's this right here. Right? So then we can jump over here. We can do... We can get in the container and see what's going on there. If so, we can do get pods, and then we can exec into this one. All right. What were we going to do in this one? We can echo Docker host. So we're just proving that it is set. Through all the config. And we can prove that this is... I say set up correctly. Obviously, it's not correct, but... did we get Docker in this? No, Docker is still not installed for some reason. I'm not sure why. I forget the curl command, honestly. There is a curl command that we can curl this with, but the Docker's not working. Inside the container. Ugh, gosh. This is so gnarly. But we can look at Eddington var run here, ls-al. It's there. We have run it. This is the only weird part, is the group is wrong. Or not wrong, but the group doesn't exist here. But I don't think that should matter because we are running as root. And it's mounted as root. So I don't think that the group not existing should be a problem. Well, I mean, curled to it just fine, right? And the container is mounted as privileged. So even if the container wanted to run as root, that's fine, right? I mean, we can look at the code here. The code is fairly simple Go. Not as awesome as Rust. I want to make a video on why I prefer Rust over Go. It comes down to like a lot of the little details. But Go's not bad. If you don't know Rust, Go is fantastic. As soon as you learn Rust, you're like, oh man, Go could have been better. What were we going to look at? Let's see, server. Oh, I said container runner. I wanted the builder. So the big thing that this is going to do is create. I don't know where it does this. Pack. I haven't looked at this for a little while. But it's going to create a build pack. So we get the build pack info here. Let's see. Actually, maybe we want to go to container builder. This is where we're trying to create the pack client here. And this is just the build pack. So this is just trying to create a build pack client. And this is what's failing. Unable to create pack client, I believe, is the thing that we're getting here. Unable to create pack client. Yeah, that's this log here. Maybe there's options into this. Now my go to definition is not working here because Go package management is the best. Actually, we might be able to fix this. I mean, that's it. I mean, like, if you're looking at it, new pack. What was the name of the pack? I mean, we're including the error with it. So, like, there's not... I don't know what else to put here. Like, that's the error message. The only thing I could think of is there could be like options for this new client, but Go is not letting me go into this. Or Go pools isn't, to be specific. I hate Go pools. Go mod tidy. Let's see if that helps. Actually, package management is probably one of the reasons I hate Go over Rust. I mean, is for sure one of the reasons. There we go. There we go. We ran a command that did nothing. And it works now. It's fine. It's fine. This is okay. Everything's fine. So this gives options. I hate this. I hate this. I really, 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 really hate this. I think this type of thing right here should never be done. What options? How do I know what options when I can pass anything that matches this? Which is just a function of the... This is very much I dislike this. Let's see. Isn't what the flags where? This right here is where you're getting the Docker client from the environment, right? The options, the type option is just an alias for a function with a type client. So this is just this Packer client, right? So basically an option is anything that is a function that takes the Packer client. And so you could do anything you wanted with this, right? Let's see. So basically, you can pass any option that you would like here, or any function that takes one of these clients. That's the options. That's not helpful. We want this one. Will GitHub do it for me? No, this one. Here we go. Nice. All right. Now, how do they do? What is the function that we're using? New client. Not that. New client. They do not use new client. Not that it appears. Does not appear. Where build pack or pack client? Where does this come from? Oh. Not exactly what I expected. All of the flags? What are you? I don't know what you're talking about here. All of the flags. This isn't giving us, like, you could, I mean, like, there's these functions that you can use that return an option. which means they return a function, but like they return a function that takes a client, that takes this struct. But it doesn't mean that this is the only thing that you can pass. You can pass anything. These are just some helper things with Docker client. So are you saying that we should make our own Docker client? We could do that. Flask? How are you, Flask? Do you program in Python by any chance? Huh? I'm just guessing. Just guessing that you're a Python programmer. I'm doing pretty well. Just got back from a really long work trip. And just having some fun. Just doing whatever. I mean, I say whatever. I am in the throes of yeah, let's see. So yeah, we can set the Docker client here instead of having it create one. If we look at the new client, which was down here, new client, this is the function we're calling with the options. Yeah, basically, if it's not setting so basically it does all the options to the client first, which is just, yeah, setting the things that are on there. If it's not, it's doing this for its new Docker client. But we could do this ourselves. So you know what? Let's yank this and do this ourselves. Your screen name predates the Python package by a number of years. Well, I'm just teasing. Oh, we're going to need to include, 1 second, let's jump back here. Let's go to the definition of this. I see what they're doing here. Oh, you know what I need? I did something wrong here. I copy and pasted a little bit too much. I do want to yank this though. But we don't need this. Yeah, which means we also don't need this. We'll turn this into an error statement. Let's see here. We don't need this. All right, we're going to change this to Docker client. We don't need to define this because we already have it. We're going to re-indent that. Something sane. Docker client doesn't exist, so we'll need to run go mod tidy on this. We're going to exit out of this. Oh gosh, we're all over the place. Let's what are we going to do? Code Eddington. All right, I have a question for all of you who are lurking. or not lurkers as well. Do you guys like? I consider myself a variety streamer. I don't know if people like it or not because I stream both Rust, Go, and Kubernetes. But I don't know because like there's a lot of the larger streamers who only stream one thing. So are most people interested in tuning in to see a specific thing? I don't know. What was I doing? Okay, well, cool, because I do. I like Rust, but there's actually a lot of reasons Eddington is in Go. If I had my way, it'd be in Rust, but there's good reasons it's not. See, I get boring in just a couple of hours. It doesn't even take a couple of streams. I just needed to run Go mod tidy because Go. All right. Use of package Docker client not in selector. I have never seen that error before. Never seen that error. I do know what this is referring to. This I didn't define this anywhere. You know what? I'm going to go back into here and see what I forget what they defined it as. They defined it as this right here. I'm just going to steal that because seems good. I'll take that. Happy to take that. Use Docker client not in selector. Oh gosh. I see what I'm doing. I'm trying to shadow this right here. We'll just call this Docker. Docker client is the selector. I got it now. Undefined Docker. Yep. Okay. Fine. You got me. Docker declared and not used. Now what we need to do here is actually use Docker with what was it? With yeah, okay. So then we can do Docker in here, I believe. All right. And here we don't want to actually return. We just want to use our logger. We have a logger for a reason. So L error. Actually, we need to turn this over to Zap. This is not using Zap, and that was a mistake. So I guess we'll go. I guess we'll do like a. It's just MSG. Gotta have those MSGs in your food, really. I mean, gotta have your MSGs. Oh, wait, no, that's actually right. Sorry. All right. Now, this should have built and deployed it to our cluster for us. That's right. It just tastes meatier when you have those MSGs in there. Now, sometimes this rebuilds a bunch of stuff and deploys it when I save. So sometimes it makes my stream break up. I need to do like quality of service on my Docker sock so you can tell it how many containers to build and how much network to consume. Because I think what it does is it consumes my network. Ugh. Well, now I have to rebuild it. Why? I thought that I have it format on save here. But I get it. I do have it format on save. It doesn't have errors. What are you talking about? Line 13. I try not to talk too much while this is building for that specific reason. Wait, okay. Bofu to you. What's your favorite language? As well as Flask. I try to learn everybody's favorite language. We do mostly Go and Rust and Kubernetes. I'm going to include that as a language here. Go and Rust. A lot of the times we actually write more code. Today, long trip, just not doing a whole lot of coding. But yeah. Oh, Ruby on Rails on the front end. I can't stand Ruby on Rails. I really can't. I'm not smart enough to do Ruby on Rails. I'm just not smart enough. That's what it tends to be. Ruby on Rails does so much magic, and like it's fantastic until you have a problem with the magic, and then when that magic has a problem, I just don't know what to do. Like everything fails me. I don't know how to debug it. Flask, you like OCaml? I have not used OCaml yet. What do you like about OCaml? Have you ever tried Rust? Like, I'd like a non-biased comparison from OCaml to Rust. Bofu, you're not selling me on Rails at this point with the better errors. The fact that I need a package for it. So we're getting this unable to get Docker client, but you know what I'm noticing is there's this Docker API version that we're hitting right here. What is my Docker API client? Now, the thing is, this was working when I was running it locally. When I run this locally, it works. So I don't think that's the problem, but we'll check it. We'll check it. Docker version doesn't give me the API version. Are you serious? I've tinkered with Rust, but it feels like another kitchen sink language. What does kitchen sink language mean? What do you mean by that? It's not the flag. I remember. I do this every single time. So we're on 1.43. Minimum version of 1. So the version skew should be fine, but we could just update ours to be 1.43. See if that helps anything. What do you mean, Flask, by a kitchen sink language? I'm sorry if that's like a common thing. I've just never heard it. And I guess inversely, what makes OCaml not a kitchen sink language? It's just too bloated syntax. So you think that OCaml has a much smaller syntax? Okay. I don't know OCaml, so like I'm not making a comparison of anything. Don't know it. To me, OCaml feels focused on algebraic types and composition. I like those things. Rust does those too, which is neat. Okay. So focus on composition is good. I think Rust, Go, OCaml are all focused on composition. I can't talk about OCaml, but I like Go's way of doing composition for the most part. Yeah, for the most part. I voted for algebraic types, but generics won out. So, I mean, I don't think algebraic types is really missing from Rust. I'm trying to think of what might be missing there from Rust. I could be wrong. Maybe there's a cool feature in OCaml that I'm obviously not using. I'm also trying to think of, like, for me, I write a lot of system stuff, and if there was anything really pivotal that would bring to me, maybe. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but Rust has, as a system language, Rust has done a phenomenal job for me. Which I also think this is a really valid point, is understanding what type of programmer and what you're working on matters a lot. And like R is really useful for some people because, yeah, it's R, but yeah. I also haven't used a ton of generics in Go. Yeah, I haven't used a ton of generics in Go. There was two problems. One, Go 118's generics were garbage, unusable garbage, effectively. And finally, in 120, they're super usable. But the problem is Go kind of pigeonholed itself into this place where the people that used it because they didn't need generics, which is all your system engineers and things like that. And so the people that are using it still don't use generics because you're making a microservice, which for a lot of like microservices, you don't need generics. You have a database and you have an API endpoint. And basically your microservice gets stuff from the database and serves it. And that's all you need. And that's where Go really shines. It's super simple. You do those things and you do nothing else. It's beautiful. It's simple. It's beautiful. You have a couple if errors or if nils, and that's fine. If error equals nil, and it's fine. You get past that, and that's where Rust really starts to be really nice. I just looked at a syntax for Rust for a web crawler, and my head already hurts. I used to do Prolog programming a few years ago, and it was just amazing. But I never write a Rust server in it. Absolutely, Flask. That's what I'm saying. Languages are just tools, and it's important to understand what the tool's good at. So yeah. Yep. 100% agree. That's why I'm asking you about your OCaml experience. Why would you pick OCaml? What? Better yet, where does OCaml fail? This is when somebody knows a language well enough, they'll know where they really dislike a language. You can't tell me every language is a language is perfect, because it's not. So where do you think OCaml's biggest failings are? Some languages it's easier than others. JavaScript, we could be here all day. All day. If you need to pick on something, I know that Modprog likes Java, just loves Java. Favorite language. Yeah, Ruby's list is too long. We got to keep it short. This is not working. What are some options here? You mean just in my local host? Yeah, I can create a Docker container here. Docker run, what do we want to run? We'll just run, BusyBox. My bad. I get mixed around which ones to pass that to. Wait. Stat. It doesn't have bin bash in BusyBox. Does it have sh? Come on. There we go. So I'm running a container. We can see it. Docker ps. There you go. On the you mean wait. So you mean run this? Remember, I don't have Docker inside the container. The command line. I can curl the Docker endpoint, remember, but I don't have the Docker CLI. Could we add it? We can add it. We absolutely can add it. I don't know how. Actually, we were fine there. Here we go. So I added Docker because, you know, I thought this seemed like the right thing on Ubuntu. I need to look at Ubuntu install Docker. Ubuntu install Docker. CLI. I just want the CLI. Is it docker.io? Is that what it is? There's me trusting you. This doesn't look good. Oh. Well, the reason I said just I haven't seen you for a while, it's good for you to be back. Hopefully everything's doing well. We are trying to create a completely local testing environment for Eddington, which has gone not so well, but we've learned a lot, especially that I'm an idiot when it comes to mounting secure things through multiple layers. Yeah. The reason I said just the CLI is because I don't, inside the container, there is no systemd inside my container, which means all the other Docker stuff is going to fail. And I don't want it to fail to install the CLI. The CLI should be fine. I also didn't want to install their repo because, like, I'm sure they have a repo with all the individual pieces. But this is a headache for containers. This is the problem, is like, this is kind of a headache for a container. Not saying that we can't do it. It's just not my first choice. Not my first choice. All right, this is running. Maybe it has the Docker CLI. Let's give it a check. Okay, git pods. Docker help. Hey. I trusted Bofu to you. Is that, I don't know how to pronounce that. What is Eddington? Well, right now it is a dumpster fire. Let me find you a picture. Yeah, right now it's this. Right now it's pretty much this incarnate right here. But we have plans for it. We'll see if it ever becomes not this, but we have plans for it. So it's like Heroku had a baby with AWS. That's the plan. That's a terrible way to describe it, but this is container inception. Don't look down on Eddington. Oh, so it's basically the idea of it was, so I wrote my Twitch alerts. So if you subscribe, you get an AI generated or follow or a raid. You get an AI generated message, a custom message just for you. That's kind of in the style of a D&D. And I wanted to host it. And the thought was like, I don't want all the pain of actually hosting something, but I want something that can host multiple services, because how I made my thing, I come from a service oriented field. And so I do a lot of service stuff, for better or for worse. So I overcomplicated it. But how I have it is like, there's actually a thing that listens to Twitch and then emits events. So I wanted something. I wanted infrastructure for that, but that meant I had to actually run my two applications: the thing that listens to for events, and the thing that acts on that event, making AI generated stuff. And then I had to have a third thing for the thing that actually displays it on the screen, because that has to be a whole webhook and everything, a WebSocket with a front end. And so actually deploying it was actually harder than writing the code to do it. And there's no real good way to have all of that. And I also have a database. And so what I want to do with this is basically we write the code, and then Eddington deploys it all. It's auto infrastructure. Infrastructure as code is horrible, but it's the best way because we have to do it. But what if your cloud provider could automatically provision and configure your infrastructure for you without... Yeah. It does use a very cute squirrel database right now. It does use a very light squirrel database. Absolutely. That's what we're running on. All right. Wait. We wanted to actually run Docker command. Docker PS. Oh, wait. I need to actually give it the Docker socket, because that's the wrong... Wait. How is this? Oh, because the environment variable. Oh. The Docker host is there. So it's working, but look at this. This is interesting. Should it be doing this? Should it be doing this? Should that be what it's doing? It should be like Unix, right? Not TCP. I have an idea. Oh, shoot. Do we just change this to something like this? Unix. Yeah. Is this what we do? Is this it? Is this the fix? Is it working? Is it working? Look at this. Oh, my peoples. Okay, get pods. Get this. Sorry, the oh my peoples came out with a slight Kentucky accent. I have to hide that. I have to work to hide that. Oh, that was rough. We have now gone from this to this. This is it. All right. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So a whole lot of work to do a whole lot of nothing. We've done our conception, our container inception. Just for those of you who are not in the know. And that's how your card goes to the moon. That's the pose. The T pose straight to the moon. We're gonna all right. Now in theory, if everything worked, this is going to build this application for us. I'm afraid to press this button. Maybe that should be a different stream pressing this button. All right, here we go. Here we go. Come on. Come on. Let's see it. Let's see it. It's building. Okay, the build failed. That's okay. That's okay. I mean, we started a build pack. Okay, this is progress. Why the crap is it doing build pack with .NET Core? I don't think we passed something correctly. I'll send you the Postman Monta. Yeah, for sure. It's kind of a small dumpster fire right now. It's actually checked into the repo, but again, it's kind of a small dumpster fire. This is open source for anybody that would like to ever touch it. You know, maybe you're feeling adventurous. You like doing containers in containers in containers. Well, we're building containers inside of a container that's in a container that's in a container. That's what we're doing. That's not how we'll do it in production. That's not how we'll do it in production. But locally, that is what we're doing. But this looks weird. .NET Core. This is a Go application, right? Yeah. Repo type is Go. So it should be using a Go build pack. I guess it's just using the jammy fool. That's maybe fine. Maybe fine. Setting custom order, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's using Go. Never mind. My bad. Yo, dog, I heard you like containers. All right, let's see. Running the creator for OS Linux. Let's see. What happened? What failed? Failed to initialize analyzer. Stupid analyzers getting in the way. Validating registry, write access, and okay. This is I don't have access to write to this registry. Cool. Okay, that's fine. First, it looks like I need to not put this on there. Done. And then I need to give it credentials for Docker somehow. So basically, yeah. Pushing the image to the registry. Right. That's what's failing here. And that's 100% fine. I don't know how. I guess we'll have to pass it in as a secret, but I haven't done that yet. So, and I can't really do that on stream because this is like actually I can't do it on stream. So that's something we'll do for another day. That's 100% another day. Because I'll make those secrets and stuff off stream so that I have a tendency of leaking keys and then having to reset them on stream. True story. I don't know how many times it's happened. You can ask Monta. He's seen many of my keys. Leaked live on Twitch. Good stuff. All right. This is good for a commit. Wait. You think you saw one earlier? Uh-oh. You should holler if you do. I have most of it under control. So if you saw one, the majority of ones that I have and show are ones that don't matter in theory. Okay, that one doesn't matter. The bigger code doesn't matter. So those are just for the local stuff. Yeah, those are for like local debugging. So those don't matter. Not saying that I haven't leaked keys. I have. I go through and reset everything like once a month, just as an extra precaution. Anything related to this, I go ahead and reset. Small updates to fix local debugging. So, I mean, in theory now, the only thing people have to do to debug this is tilt up. The full end-to-end is actually pretty cool. So there's two steps. Let's do this. Kind delete cluster. It's a small fix. Small updates to local debugging. Really, the updates weren't large. It was just how we're mounting stuff through kind. It's not even in the end product. Like the end thing, it's not even in that. It's just, yeah. So what you have to do this, all you have to do to debug this at this point, now obviously there'll be secrets. And actually, one thing is you could point this to any registry URL that you wanted to use. So like if you didn't want to use mine, if you wanted to use your own, you just point it at yours. The only things you have to do is run hack. There's a setup dev, right? A start dev, sorry. Start dev. You run start dev. 1 second. I don't think I deleted the cluster. Kind clusters list. What is it? Get clusters. Ah, okay. Kind delete cluster kind Eddington. All right. Is it name? There we go. All right. Now all you have to do is start dev. What? How? We've done this a couple of times. How's this failing? It's like it's not deleting the cluster. It's like it didn't delete it. All right, and I regret this. I regret this change. Let's change this change. Let's go into our hack files here. Hack, and it's CTL PTL kind config. Let's rename this. I renamed this to kind Eddington. I don't like that because then you can't just do delete cluster. That's so much nicer. So much nicer. Okay. There we go. Now we're back to working. Kind Eddie. I don't think we're going to do that. So it most likely was the space on the last command fail. Oh. Well, so the thing was, I wanted to start clean, and I think that that's the problem. I wasn't starting clean, and I wasn't deleting the kind cluster that we were accessing. So my point was, you should just be able to run hack start dev, which you will need CTL PTL installed. And I don't have an installed dependencies script yet, so you're on your own for that one. But once you have CTL PTL installed, which is a pain in the derriere, this should set everything up for you, which is pretty cool. And then all you have to do is tilt up. And that's going to run all the Eddington services. And then you can go about your business. Do be warned that the API service is using an in-memory database. So every single time it restarts, you have to add a new user again. It's so bad right now, but it's working. And it's kind of a complicated system. So like I actually struggled with this because I thought that I was overcomplicating it. Like way overcomplicating it. But the problem is it's a hard problem that I'm trying to solve. Like it's a complicated problem that I'm trying to solve. And so I just don't see a simple solution to it. Clive, the user comes from Ori. No, you're correct in production, but you'll notice that. Well, you might not notice, but if you look at the API service, that there is this concept of a debug flag. This right here, and if you look at the debug, if you're running in debug. I do a debug middleware with for auth, which basically allows you to auth with no problem. So when you're in that case, Ori doesn't call the create new user in our system because there is no Ori. So when debugging locally, you don't need to have an Ori account because like if it's an open source project. If somebody wanted to they shouldn't have to create an account with Ori. I don't know if that makes sense. And most people aren't trying to do auth stuff. Now you can debug locally without this flag if you want. And you can have Ori running, that like the Ori proxy running locally. That's fine. This just gives you a flag. That's fine. You have access. I don't give access to just anybody that wants to run Ori. See, that's the difference. So you're fine. Don't run it with us. Just do this. So just don't pass the debug flag. That's all. So by default, it doesn't run in debug mode. You have to tell it to run in debug mode, which is what I'm doing. If you look here, I might be able to. I don't know. You might be able to. I think you have just as much permissions as I do. So go for it. What was I going to show? Oh, not. Was it this? I think deployment. I'm in the wrong thing. It's not in the contain. It's in the API that has it. So you can just see here, I'm passing the flag for debug. I believe you were going to show your tokens. No. This is why I'm not doing anything like that right now. What I really need to do is I want to do I state my cone of silence like this, but I want to create a specific OBS screen for the cone of silence. That's the plan. We'll have some fun with it. We'll have some fun with the cone of silence. But yeah. All right. I think that's good for today. It was fun. I'm tired. I had a long week. It's good to be back. Tomorrow I'll do my news as usual. I've been gone, so I haven't been as up on the news, but I'll try to cover the news as best as I can. So please join me if you like to cover news. Let's find somebody to raid. Oh, Monta, you're on vacation next week? Awesome. Let's see. What are we looking for? Are we looking for some Rust? Are we looking for some Go programming? Here's some Go. They say they're Go plus TypeScript. What an abomination. Go and TypeScript. I don't know about that. Is there anybody we know here? Let's see. Anyone we know? Nobody that I know. You might do some huge commits. I'll be looking forward to it, Monta. I'll be looking forward to it. We kind of have an end-to-end thing that's kind of working. You know what? We're gonna try this Go plus Golang plus TypeScript. We're gonna see what that's all about. Yeah, don't hurt your back picking up those heavy novels. You got to keep them light. You guys have a good weekend. Thank you so much for joining. I had fun. Sorry that it was a little bit painful. That's what we do here. We like pain. Yeah. So thank you. And here's some Go.
Yo, what's up, Clay?